Hi, everyone, and welcome to the 82nd episode of Dragon Quest Slime Time, a Dragon's Den podcast. This is your host, Pendy.
And this is Bluestar.
And this is Platty M3.
Yeehaw! It's time for some monster wrangling. Get along, little slimes.
What in the goddess's name do you think you are doing?
I warned you this would happen if we let him lead this episode.
Well, hello there, little partners. I'm this town's monster wrangler. I'm wrangling up as many of them little old monsters for my partner, Pizarro.
I don't think this town is big enough for your accent.
Yeah, perhaps you should just mosey on down the way so we can just get this episode started.
Well, I do declare, there's a big old monster over there.
Why does he look at me? Should I be nervous?
Dude, run where you still can, Drakely.
Ooh-wee! I'm gonna lasso up this big one. Yeehaw!
Oh no!
Well, while Pendy rounds up our guest, I'll welcome you to this episode of Slime Time, where we'll discuss our first impressions of Dragon Quest Monsters: The Dark Prince.
We also bring back tonight our guest from our last Monsters episode, Drakely.
Hello, everybody.
On to our first impressions for Dragon Quest Monsters: Dark Prince. Let's start out with the purchase experiences and what we heard about. My experience at GameStop was actually pretty nice. There was a guy that was there, and he had a nice little metal slime that he had on the register, which is awesome. And then I noticed that there was some familiar music in the background, and I asked him, I was like, hey, is this the music for Dark Prince? And he's like, no. He actually had the soundtrack for Joker 2 that he put on into the store. So I thought that was cool. That was fun.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, it was like the complete Monsters experience. It was wonderful.
Wow.
Now,
I just also had sort of similar, but not quite as cool experiences at GameStop. When I went in for my pre-order originally, the guy who was checking me out was like, I love Dragon Quest, but I was too awkward to make a friend. But just the fact that they weren't like, what is this? I've never heard of this before. And then when I came in to get my game last Friday, there was another guy in the store who, when I told the guy I pre-ordered Dragon Quest Monsters, and he's like, okay, it's not in the drawer. I got to go check in the back. At first I was like, oh no, is it going to be late? But the other guy who was in the store at the time was like, hey, I pre-ordered that one too, so just grab a second one. So there are people around me who play Dragon Quest.
Isn't it
but again,
strange?
I was too awkward to actually make friends. So
they
exist.
I completely messed up. I could have given him like my Slime Time card that I have now and been like, oh yeah, I have a podcast. You should listen, and so on and so forth. And I did none of those things. I was just shocked. I was like, oh my God, he's playing Dragon Quest music in the store. That's great. I heard from other people that we know, like such as Woodus, that he went and got his physical copy at Best Buy, and it didn't even have its own slot in the Switch section. It was like among the bargain titles or something like that. So that was weird. And then Dwayne, he couldn't even find it being sold at his favorite place in the world, Target, but he did see that all of his local Walmarts had it in stock. So, and I also saw that some of the people that pre-ordered it from Amazon are just now getting it shipped. And at the time of this recording, we are 3 days out from when the game was actually released. So it seems pretty much everywhere except for GameStops could be hit or miss. And I guess Walmart.
Jeez. I had a very disappointing way to get mine. As y'all know, I write for RP Gamer, and I'm usually like right on the list for the editor just gets me any copy of a Dragon Quest game and I'll review it. But then we never got a review copy of Infinity Strash. Come to find out later that they only did that for PlayStation 5, and we had put in a request for the Switch version. And I guess Square Enix is not very forthcoming about whether you get it or not. You request it, and either you get it or you don't. You don't get the don't call us, we'll call you kind of thing. But I had been checking with my editor the whole time, like, hey, we're getting it. I think I even checked the night before. So woke up the next morning, release day, and I'm like, well, we were going to a wedding that Friday, and my son was having to go over grandma's house for like 6 hours, and he's been looking forward to this game for months and months and months. So I was like, well, I guess I'll just bite the bullet, did the whole digital $86 or whatever digital download, because buying digitally, I can play on my Switch Lite as a secondary system, and he can play under his account on the main Switch, and we can actually play at the same time. So I can buy one copy, we both can play digitally. Did that like 6 a.m, so that by the time we left for school at 7, it was all downloaded, ready to go. He had the Switch packed up in a bag, so when he went home with grandma, he would have it there to play since I wouldn't be getting home till way late at night from the wedding. So first hour of school goes by. I get a message around 9 a.m. from my editor. Hey, Square Enix just contacted us. The Switch code will be incoming today.
Oh no.
I was like, well, feel free to hand it to another reviewer because I already bought it.
Oh.
So I'm like, seriously, 3 hours would have saved me the $60 because I would have bought all the DLC anyway. But that was my long list of reasons why going to the wedding last Friday was pissing me off. I would have just bought it on our way home or later that day. Like I wouldn't have bought it like 5, 6 in the morning. So we got it digitally.
Oh man, that's too bad. I even took the day off from work so that I could get it when it came out. So it worked out pretty well. Thankfully, I didn't have any engagements of any kind. Just worked out that way.
Yeah, even the guy who was at GameStop with me when I was picking up my copy mentioned the fact that there were no reviews out for the game before it released. So
and here we are later, and it's still not, if I'm not mistaken.
There's like one, which I'll go into later. But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I bought my game from Walmart. So basically, for some reason, Walmart didn't register that I was paying for the game until the week of. So I purchased it like way back in like September. I didn't get charged until the week of, and I got it shipped probably on Friday when the game came out. So yeah.
And what's interesting about that related to Walmart is that we saw some people that had Walmart Plus, and for some reason, some of those people got the game shipped to them early. I mean, how early was it, Platty? Do you remember?
it was like a whole week.
I mean,
Yeah.
it was a good week and a half. I actually want to say the first person I know that got dinged and I'm on a Discord was someone who antagonized them. Good job, Stepphone. Antagonized the guy into joining that Discord. I think it was actually Z6N4's Dragon Quest translation one. The guy actually got on there and like posted a video of it and everything, and they were chatting with him because he was on Reddit and people didn't believe him because the box looked a little suspicious and he didn't want to open it up because of what it was going to be a gift for somebody else.
Yeah, saving it for Christmas or something.
Yep. So yeah, enough that at least one person I know bombarded him with enough DMs that he finally just joined our Discord and chatted with us there.
Yeah, so Walmart Plus, you got it early.
Yep.
Amazon Prime, you got to wait like an extra week.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
I mean,
and
Twinkie's
I
expecting his in February, right?
Oh my God, yeah, I saw that. I hope
I think he
that's not the
was.
case.
Hopefully that updated.
Yeah.
That happened to me with Yokai Watch 4. I had it and on Amazon. I had it pre-ordered for months, and then release day came, and it was like a February, and it was like, you'll have it by May 31st. I was like, what? So
That's not helpful.
nope. I was in downtown Orlando for dinner that night, and there was like 4 GameStops in the 25 miles between where I was and home, and I called every single one of them, and the manager was nice enough to go in the back, open boxes, and she's like, oh, we actually have a copy.
Yeah, and
So-
my Walmart literally said that I would have had the game today, but when we were recording, but I was like, I am not gonna wait that long, and so let's wait a day before I like actually cancel and everything. And lo and behold, it said should be on the first day of December. I'm like, yes.
Yeah, that was good.
We all played the demo, I think. Did anybody
Mhm.
have anything exciting that they transferred over from the demo? I did not really, because I told myself I'm going to go back to the demo and get some cooler stuff in my 8 slots to carry over just because, I can and it'll probably be fun. And then I never did. But I did get to transfer over the horrifying saucers that I made with the NPC's Wax Murderer in the second circle of Naderia. And since I did that, I didn't have to fuse my Draki with the Wax Murderer, so I just made a Wax Murderer out of his Wax Murderer and got my own Wax Murderer.
So what I did is I literally made multiple accounts just to have the demo, and I made literally different teams that would have transferred over, like a dragon team, a summer team, what I considered an ugly team, and a cute team. And after making all 4 teams, because I only made like 4 accounts from what I could do, I looked on YouTube and Twitch and all the stuff, all the early game like Japanese players, and I'm like, shoot. They only have 1 skill. They only have like level 1 stats. Like they're all basically bland. And so I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna get transfer over that data. But then I forgot. Literally, you get like a bonus hack of like a strength ring and some sirloin steaks and 1 like XP ball from that DLC after completing it. So I'm like, darn it, I have to get it anyway. so I just have fodder for all my synthesis.
I've been using that strength ring since the beginning of the game, so
Oh, me
it
too.
was worth it.
Yeah. I feel like I've barely got any other items, and there's no. I guess I should check the online shop again. Could have got another wisdom one, and I'm like, meh.
Oh, I have more accessories than I have monsters with me, so there is that.
Oh, geez, I do not. I have all like 3 at this point.
Oh, really? Yeah, I've got like maybe 7 to 8 ish, maybe close to 10 accessories. Because there's been some places where you can get them, not just the online store either.
We'll have to talk about that more. I barely played the demo. I had about 4 or 5 hours in. As a matter of fact, while the game was downloading last Friday morning, I went into the demo real quick and realized I only had 6 monsters with me, and quickly went back and threw a couple else in. So it was kind of like whatever 8 were sitting around, you came with me.
Nice. Yeah, and I guess it didn't even really matter, as Drakely pointed out, with the fact that they only get like 1 set of skills that came over with them. Because, I had a couple of good ones from some of those Wranglers that you would meet up with, and you could get some good monsters out of there. But yeah, like I said, only 1 set of skills. Even when you scout a monster on the map, you at least get 2. So they were kind of useless except to use them as extra copies is what I kind of used them for. But as someone pointed out before, I did like the little bundle of bonus items that we got, and then combine that with what you got with pre-ordering the game, at least at GameStop. You got like a fair amount of nice items that came with everything. Kind of like I think, you got some Monster Munchies, the bonus balls and stuff like that. So, have you not done the download code yet, Blue?
I don't think I did.
You should still have time to do it.
I don't know if I have my receipt. Oh shit.
Oh no, it's on your receipt. See, my GameStop guy was like the best GameStop guy ever. Like he pointed it out on the receipt. He's like, hey, don't forget you got a download code, and he took a marker and he marked it off, and then he told me like, hey, you should take a picture of it too, just in case you lose your receipt. So I was like, oh, okay, thanks, dude. It was weird. It was like one of the best buying experiences I've ever had.
Someone actually knows what's going on.
I think I did the exact same thing with treasures last year, but I did end up having my receipt, but by the time I put in the code, it redeemed the items, but it never got into my file.
Oh.
So
weird.
It's fine. I pre-ordered it to make sure I could have the game, not so I could have the extra stuff. Totes.
Exactly. All right, so I know we're all kind of early in the game here. We're all kind of taking our times. I'm in a Discord with people that have rolled credits, have the S rank level 100 monster teams. It's insane.
Oh.
But from the little we've all collectively seen, what does everybody think about the monster selection so far in the game? I think it's fine. I think it's probably better than fine. The fact that there's so many low level ones. I've spent most of November playing Terry's Wonderland 3D again, and I've got like 70 hours into that, and it's just I keep turning it on every day just to do Wi-Fi stuff, because there's like a billion rank S and SS monsters in that game. Seriously, there's over 100 or something of more of them, and I feel it devalues the F and the EAF rank. Whereas this one, I think there's so many like G rank, there's so many F rank. I'm like, holy cow! Like I got 30 monsters in G, and it's like, oh, there's still more, or something like that. I'm seeing my Swiss cheese memory is like looking at this monster. I'm like, I've seen you before, but that's not your name. And I think it's because I've probably played like 400 to 500 hours of the Joker 3, Joker 3 Professional, Dragon Quest Monsters 2. Now I'm going like my second 100 hours on Terry's Wonderland here. So I'm used to all of Z6N4's teams' translation names. So, I mean, there's just, and I don't play Tact or Dragon Quest of the Stars. So I've not seen official translations of some of these people's names, if since Joker 2 or if ever, because I mean, it's been 13 years. So some of these are new.
Yeah. And Square Enix can't even be consistent with the names anyways. It doesn't really matter. Like between Tact and this game, like Tact, for example, has a forest dragon, or at least what Tact calls it, a forest dragon. But then in Dragon Quest Monsters, they call it a lumbering lizard. So they can't even decide from game to game what they want to call anything. So I totally understand.
There's no naming Bible, I guess.
I've kind of decided that basically anything from Dragon Quest Tact that like hasn't been in a localized game, I'm sort of throwing that out the window a little bit, because I've gotten a pickle slime, which is the yellow mushroom slime, bubble slime looking thing in Dragon Quest Tact, but it's called a moldy slime. There's coal slime, which is like the slimesicle but the lava version, and he's called a scuttle slime, which I'm like, I don't know.
Slime, what the hell?
Coal slime was fine. And I did just look it up, Platty, and I think I'm missing 2 G rank monsters at this point, and I have 70. So there are 70 72 G ranks.
And that's great because, how many times, those S and those SS ranks, those are cool and everything in these games, but they're like boss monsters from the main games and everything, or like those special boss monsters that you fight once. You fight a bubble slime a million times in Dragon Quest games. Like, those are the more iconic ones. Yeah, those other ones are cool, but you don't spend much time with them. Like, all those G rank and those F rank and those E ranks, those are the rank and file monsters that you kill 200 of in every single game. Yeah. See that? See what I did there? So, it's nice to like play around with them and not be like, well, there's only 30 in each level. Let's just move on and get to those freaking 200 S and SS ranked or whatever. I guess this time it's S and X ranked. So I think it's cool. I like all the little variations because, I'm in a Candyland place and I'm playing with the chocolate fondues or the little ghost monsters that are vanilla cups and everything. So even the recolors of stuff or the versions of things they've chosen to put in here early on feel like they go right along with the areas that you find them.
And honestly, there are so I think Pendy and Platty, you said you were only on the third circle of Naderia. Well, there's 6 total, at least that I found. I don't think any more are gonna open up at this point, but I could be surprised.
I think that's what it. But I would think it tells us that too pretty early. Even in the demo, it was like, hey, this is how Naderia works.
That's fair. But each one has a lower, a middle, and an upper echelon. So like, I've got all these areas that I can go to and like a ton of monsters I can scout, but I've only been to a third of the areas. So it's huge. And,
you get the 4 seasons. Every time the season changes, there's a couple new ones popping up around there.
And then it starts snowing and suddenly there are teeny sanguinis on the plains that you didn't know were there before.
Yep.
Or raining candy.
Sprinkles are just falling from the sky.
I love the raining candy.
Oh, it's awesome. Love it.
Yeah, and literally I can't say what my full impression is on the monster selection, even though I'm stuck on the 6th lower echelon just because I'm fusing monsters. Like, even fusing monsters, I'm like literally going through and thoroughly collecting monsters, and I'm just fighting Cyclops twins, which I'm in Terestia, which I'm naming Killian and Rogers, and I'm just fighting them to gain that XP so I can fuse more and more monsters that I'm collecting. So it's a pain, but I'm trying to make sure I get all the monsters I can so far.
Oh yeah, it's been nice. I've loved the monster selection, especially since I haven't really played the game since the first game. So a lot of these monsters that have been in other Monsters games, but not the mainline games, are new to me. So it's been fun to see them. And I think some of these are new to Dragon Quest in general. Like, isn't the Fromage Frey, the little cheesy monster, isn't he new to the Dragon Quest world?
He is not new.
No? Oh, I'll see. That's how much I know.
I think he was in Dragon Quest X because he shows up in the Tickington quests in Dragon Quest XI.
Nice. I know there's a few. They have at least a handful of like brand new monsters for this game, and it's been fun just seeing them all. So I've been having fun with it.
The Vegan Dragora, aka the best boy.
Yeah, like, wasn't he like the first guy that they ever revealed when they were kind of teasing this whole game to begin with? Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly. And one of my favorite things about this game is how the monsters interact on the screen. I don't know if they've done this in other Monsters games before, but the way that you can find them doing their business is just hilarious. Like, they can be running around, chasing each other. Like, you see lips licking random stuff, which is always interesting. You've got like a big monster of 3 little tiny baby monsters in tow behind them. You'll see little musical symbols showing that they're singing along with each other. I've seen like a concert where like musical monsters are doing like the dancing around and doing a concert, or when another monster conducting with his little magic wand other monsters. Like, all the different monster interactions, which are many and varied throughout the game, have been just absolutely hilarious and fun. It's been one of my favorite parts of the game. And so you guys have played other Monsters games. Have they done that before, or is this kind of new?
Yes. Yeah, I know. Okay. Just playing Terry's Wonderland, I think one of the funniest ones there was it one of the Tyrannosaurus, one of the T-Rex ones, the guy with the big old Haxacosaurus was chasing somebody around in circles. And yeah, they've had ones getting eaten. Thinking back to like great. Joker 3, they're out there eating each other. So
and sometimes,
yeah, I would
actually. So in Joker 3, I think it was a drag racer recolor or something, and he would go through and eat the dragon slimes. And when he ate a dragon slime, it would spawn an angel slime.
Oh, wow.
And so that would be kind of like a way to get extra monsters out of it. I don't think that is a mechanic in this game because I've been able to fill out all of the local monsters things without really paying attention to that. But that was something cool that the interactions.
Yeah, I don't know if it was there in Joker 2. I don't recall it in Joker 2, but I think with the 3D, at least with the 3DS remakes and Joker 3, the 3DS titles have done it.
I can speak for Joker 2 in the sense that in Joker 2, they literally had like interactions in the sense of like there was, I guess, more so background items like a pile of bones and meat stuff and stuff like that. And then you see these monsters kind of like around the pile trying to like scratch at it or something. I don't know, but it was like some minor interaction that you can kind of like have an image of what they're doing.
Nice. Probably the one that surprised me the most, that delighted me recently, was that I saw a Drakey pick up a blue slime and just fly away with it. I was like, what the heck? I was like, okay, bye, little slime. I'm sorry. I guess he's taking you back for dinner or something, or maybe just giving you a ride. Who knows?
Who knows?
Well, I liked in the third circle, there's those big cakes that are there, and they have like the little fruit on top. But if you get close enough, it's not fruit at all. It's she slimes.
Yeah, I remember that. There's like a little cake that has like 6 of them that all are kind of pretending to be a topping, and then they'll try and surprise you and jump off the cake and go after you. It's fun.
I will say, since we're just talking about that land and what it looks like walking around, when it turned to springtime there and all the donuts turned green, I was a little bit disgusted.
Oh yeah, I had that in my notes too. It was like green donuts. I mean, yeah, that disturbed me as well. I don't know why.
And they were like the same shade as the grass. I'm like, what the hell just happened here?
Actually, that's not spring. That's summer.
Oh, damn it.
Oh, she got you.
She did get me. She got me.
The donuts are pink in spring.
Well, damn it, Summer. Too much mold growing on those donuts that it's been sitting around since spring.
They're lime flavored, like the slimes.
Yeah, I know they're like green frosting or whatever, but yeah, I had the same reaction. I was like, oh, green donuts. I don't know if I like this.
The only thing I tend to like about the candy area is that literally in fall, if it's like the rainy kind of section of the game where it's like a weather pattern, it's actually a spooky pattern, and so you can see all these undead cake like frosting thing called the
ice cream. There's
the ice cream thing. Yes, and so they're literally floating around when you're in a candy area, so it's like really cool.
Yeah, those little interactions that they have on all the different environments have been great. So what does everyone think of the story? Like with other Monsters games, I love that it's not canon to where it's coming from. In this case, Dragon Quest IV, and that they're kind of doing their own thing, at least from what I've read. In this game, basically Pizarro, I'm not going to really spoil too much of it because I'll let everyone see it for themselves, but the main premise is that Pizarro is cursed from harming other monsters, and there's this local dwarf that shows him how to control other monsters to fight for him, aka monster wrangling. Like we predicted, Platty, you were the first one to say it, the prologue was cut off from the demo, because you were in the demo, you were just kind of thrown into the story, and you missed the whole prologue and the explanation of like, why can't he attack monsters, and why did that happen in the first place? How did that come about? So that explains it. And it makes so much more sense now why he is cursed not to harm monsters now. So that was good to see. There's not a ton of story yet from what I've seen, but I've loved what I've seen of it so far. Pizarro's interactions with Rose and Toil Trouble have been really entertaining to me.
I haven't gotten super far in the story. I finished all 6 of the circles, and I actually just got to sort of a mind-blowing story twist that I'm not going to spoil. But as far as it not being canon to Dragon Quest IV, it's interesting because most of the things that I've seen so far totally could have happened at the same time.
That's what I've seen as well. So it'll be interesting to see more of the story. You know, we see some particular people that will come by later, and then I think that will probably tell us whether it's not or whether it is aligns with what actually happened before.
Well, it has come up where I am, where I'm at. So they've started to show up. And actually, so you guys are at the third circle, so I can talk a little bit about the third circle. The people that you are helping in the third circle, it doesn't make sense until you finish it. But when you get there, and they're on the cover, so I guess it's not too big of a spoiler, but it ends up being the 2 monsters that you fight as the first boss in Ragnar's chapter of Dragon Quest IV.
Oh yeah, that's who I didn't even put that together. but that is the same two monsters.
Look at that.
So I can't compare it to Dragon Quest IV, even though it's not like strictly canon to Dragon Quest IV. I would really want to say that with how much story we're given and how much we are kind of like reviewing for actual like podcast right now, I kind of just zoned out of the story in a way. Not because I don't like it, it's because I was more so focused on like focusing my attention for this podcast and then kind of going back and listening to the story as a second playthrough.
Nice. And some people just like to play these games for monster collecting, and that's it. I've seen some reviews about that where it's like, I don't care about anything else. I just like collecting all the monsters. So, either way you want to play it, it's great.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Pokemon people that do the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
I have been sort of like fighting. Those two sides of me have been fighting because one side of me just wants to keep synthesizing monsters and the other side of me wants to figure out what's happening. But one of the things that just happened in the story is I got a question and I answered the question and then something really big happened and I was like, was that had to be a but thou must situation, right? Like,
If it's what I think it is, the answer is yes. That was
okay.
You couldn't have gone any other way.
But at the same time, it wasn't really a but thou must as much of it as it was a but thou must not, which is why I'm confused.
Hey, turn it on its head. That's good. I like that it's Sorrow's backstory basically, and Penny, you and I were saying this earlier, like, canon be damned, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, did Terry really go on an adventure to save Great Tree before he was a emo punk ass bitch in Dragon Quest VI? Who's to say?
Or did Kiefer really go to the land of Dragon Quest II? Like,
I was gonna say, was Kiefer, bopping around prehistory lands before he was bopping around prehistory lands? God knows,
Yeah.
It's just fun to see the characters again. Sorrow is a big character in Dragon Quest lore, and why not have him be the protagonist here? And you know what? If most of it fits, great. We're going to be talking Star Trek on our next side quest.
Tomorrow,
a lot of us
you scheduled 3 podcasts in 3 days.
Oh, that was me.
No.
That was me.
That was Tactfully Die coming soon to a podcast near you. Also, SideQuest coming soon to a podcast catcher near you. But there's all those Star Trek or Star Wars. I read a million novels in the 90s and the 2000s, and they're all just alternate history now. And Star Trek has a whole 1,000 novels written that are not necessarily canon because it's not on TV. Did they all try to pretty much keep to the same thing? Sure. Is there one or two little tweaks with side characters and whatever? Of course there is. It's fine. Stay close, but don't feel beholden that you can't type one extra word or add one extra thing, because one day they may remake Dragon Quest IV, and I don't think they're going to be sitting there considering Sorrow's backstory if they decide to add a little bit to Dragon Quest IV, add a new bonus dungeon or something in there. It's like Dragon Quest IX, where everybody from every other world comes and visits you at the inn. It doesn't mean that they're right there in your world.
The Dragon Quest multiverse.
Yeah, sometimes it's just fun to see stuff that you like. Like,
Just
we talked about that ages ago. I want to say going back like 4 or 5 years ago when we were talking about like the Zenithian trilogy on early Slime Times, and I can't remember who pulled out an article by Yuji Horii about Zenithia, and he's like, it's more just connected in fans' minds. We just wanted to have common stuff in the games.
And sometimes a cameo is just a cameo, depending on the game.
Yep. How many with Dragon Quest VIII didn't Ragnar and Talon show up in the arenas?
Yes, they did.
Yep. It's just fine. And then sometimes it's the whole point of the game, like Dragon Quest Heroes 1. They're all getting pulled together and they make a big deal about it. Sometimes it's just, like you said, sometimes a cameo is just a cameo.
So we have talked about the story. Now we should talk about the gameplay. So like I said, I do really enjoy the story, but I also really enjoy collecting things. So I've been going through and wrangling and catching more monsters and synthing things and going back and forth and then doing it all again. And unfortunately, the way I've been doing it, it takes like a full day to go through a round of stuff because I've been synthesizing every possible new thing that I can. And then I go through the mole hole and I catch every monster that I've had in the past. And then I do that again. And then I go catch all the monsters that I've had. And the mole hole is slow. We'll talk about the DLC a little bit later, but it's like good, but also slow. So I'm probably wasting a lot of my time, but there we are. So as far as, exploration, there's the seasons, the locations are super varied. Like every single one, it feels like it's a completely different world. And I mean, where it can rain candy in one place and fire in another, and in a different area, the inclement weather is just lightning. So everything is electrocuted, but you can still walk and not get hurt. It's fine. That's just how it works, I guess.
Yeah, insulated boots, whatever.
Yeah,
or just walking around in the acid rain. It's no issue.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the green poison falling. That's fine.
Yeah. But yeah, the gameplay has been fun. I love doing the battles, and I love that there's a fast mode. Now, that's
thank God,
quality
yes.
of life thing that comes with this version of the game right off the bat, which sometimes you may not see until like we saw with Dragon Quest XI, for example, didn't get it until like S. But the battles are kind of slow. But with the fast mode on, I'm like, okay, that's good. I'm no problems, no issues here. The monster wrangling is fun. I like that you can scout, or you can just throw meat at the monsters, and you can get them one of those two ways. And it's funny when you try and scout them, and they get angry, and they will hit you even harder. Like, I'm just trying to join my team. Why you gotta get so angry? As we've talked about before, the seasons and the locations, the combination of all of those have been fantastic. Whether it's the Candyland, or I actually just got to the 4th echelon where it's water themed, and that's been fun too. So you can go to different areas as the water goes up and down, and that's been great. And it's the acid rain, the candy rain, like all the different locations and seasons have been fantastic. Now, I do hope that we mentioned this when we did the demo review, but I do hope that there is some kind of item or something you can get later on where you can just like instantly change the seasons, because sometimes that can be annoying.
Yeah.
Isn't there already one?
Oh, good. There's an item called seasoning that you can use.
Oh, yes.
But I'm thinking, like, if it's winter and it changes to spring and you want it to be winter again, you have to use like 3 pouches of it. So I'm hoping that there's like a spell or something.
Oh, I think I just got some recently. I didn't know
spells.
That. Okay.
No, the seasoning.
I didn't realize that's what it was for. I didn't bother to look.
Oh, I had to click on it and be like, what the hell is this?
Oh, good.
Platty opened a menu?
I hit the Y button, yeah. What did I thought it was hilarious. I don't think it was our Discord, but somebody the other day was talking about how they're having a hard time on this boss or whatever, and somebody's like, haven't you tried using an item? And he's like, listen, I'm 20 hours into the game. I haven't touched the fucking items one bit yet. And I was like, yes, you are that hoarder. You're going to finish the game with your 99 elixirs just in case.
Oh, God. Yeah, because there's like all sorts of items that you can find that you can do an extra attack, and all sorts of things that you can do. Of course, you can't use them when you're doing the arena stuff where it's more out of your control, which I don't mind. But yeah, and that's been interesting too, kind of figuring out like what kind of tact do I want to use, what is it called when you use a different...
It's tactic, yeah.
The different tactic that you want to use for the different monsters, and see if they'll do what you hope that they will do.
Hatchet Man, why am I missing? Hatchet Man.
That is one I've seen a lot of people complain about.
Oh, can you turn off different abilities?
Yes,
you can.
So that is under set instructions in the menu.
Yep.
Okay,
yeah,
and
you can go
use
deep
that. You can use that like in the arena too.
Yep, and
Yes.
I've actually changed my team a little bit to kind of like mix and match the tactics and the instructions. So like focus on a certain subject in tactics, but you can go into your instruction, take out certain attacks if you're gonna be doing a damage dealer, and maybe prioritize your healing.
Yes, that's
or buff,
true.
so it could do that as a secondary if needed.
Okay, yeah, because there's like
You can give them high priority, low priority, or turn them off.
Yeah,
Each
there's like
skill is 3.
because there's that one skill. I don't know if it's called. What is it called? The one where it's either going to attack the enemy or you, which is
Frenzy.
Frenzy. Yeah, thank you.
Frenzy, you are not allowed to turn on or off. So that's one that I have seen. Like the options just grayed out when you go into set instructions. And just for clarity's sake, I don't know if you can change the instructions in the middle of a battle.
No, I don't think.
I think you have to do it outside of battle. Also, Platty, you said you opened the menu with Y. Y is the map.
Well, no. Like you hit Y and get more information about certain things. Like I was in the menu.
Okay.
To look at what a skill does.
Yeah. There's certain ones that you could hit Y for like more information or whatever.
Okay.
At least I believe it might have been. Who knows?
You got me.
Oh, and I mentioned this in the last podcast that we did about this game, but it still cracks me up about Pizarro's reactions to opening treasure chests and getting items, because some of his little grunts are just a little much. If it's something good, he'll be like, ooh. It's like, okay, man, it's just a medicinal herb. You don't have to get all crazy about it, man.
I think it's really funny when he jumps and he sounds like an old man who just threw out his back. He's just like,
And if it's like a bad item like manure, he'll be like, ugh, what is this? Ugh.
But I would honestly say that with how I pictured the gameplay, I kind of started off just by rating it in a sense. So like battling, I would give it like a 9 out of 10 just because of the fact that you can set instructions, set tactics, basically have autoplay and fast play, and the fact that you can literally choose whatever monster and you can get like a set amount of XP from those monsters that are in battle. Synthesis, 10 out of 10. I love Synthesis. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think it actually improved most things. Plus, what Bluestar said with the mole hole, I see it as a plus side if you're going a long route of Synthesis, but it's also a downside as well if you have too many monsters.
Oh, and I'm just going to interrupt you real quick about Synthesis. Because I'm more of a casual player, I love that this game has a system where it says like, hey, if this is highlighted this color, then it's probably a pretty good monster. And even the monster wranglers that you'll run into be like, hey, if you use this guy with my guy, it'll probably be a pretty good combination. So I'm like, okay, monster dude, I'll pay attention to what you have to say.
Mm-hmm.
And so I can look at the different setups that you can do a search for, and I can go with what the game recommends to me. And I'm like, hey, great. I just pay attention to certain skills that I want to get, buffs and debuffs and the kind of traditional kind of things that you'd want to get in a Dragon Quest game, so I can have status changes and things like that I can use for my monsters.
So I hesitate to say that means the monster is good, but what that means is that's a special synthesis recipe. So like there are a lot of things that like if you go into reverse search and you're like, I want to make a she slime or something, it shows up and there's like a million different ways to do it. But those things with the gold border, that's a special recipe. So that actually, I mean, it would be a good recipe because usually that'll maybe bump up your rank to the next one or something like that, but specifically Mud Mannequin plus Gunash Goody will give you a chocolate golem, and so that takes 2 rank G monsters and turns it into a rank F monster. So definitely you want to do those, but you can have good other monsters too.
Yeah, because all the ones that I've seen that have been the gold highlighted ones are usually of a higher rank than all the other ones that you can make.
Yeah, plus if you get a sparkling monster in Synthesis, it's usually like one of the stat growths that you would have had a low value of will now be a higher value.
Yeah, so, I've gotten one so far. I've got a bullfinch that's sparkly, and that's all I've gotten. But just randomly got a sparkly bullfinch, which is one of my main characters.
Oh, cool.
Sparkly bullfinch. Sorry.
One thing I'll also say is that Seasons is really neat, but I have to give it a 7 out of 10, mainly because Seasons, like winter and the weather of the other seasons, like they don't normally have like music to go with it, so you have this like area blank sound where you're just listening to your feet move and the ambience of monsters nearby. The locations, all after the main section you get in the very beginning, I would have to give it an 8 out of 10 just because there's some areas I think could have been better or had more in-depth like thoroughness to it. But I love, like you guys have said, the candy area. I loved like the volcano area just because of how the lava opens up that new area. Just so many different things, and so I still want to give it a higher value.
Nice. Yeah, I don't disagree with almost any of that. That's I was trying to think. I had something that we mentioned earlier. Okay, so does the meat seem to do very little for you guys?
So I think the way it's supposed to work is it has more of an effect on if they join you after the battle than it does for scouting.
Okay, because that. So I mean, again, I've just put 70 some hours into Terry's Wonderland, and like rank F monsters, you give them a low thing, and suddenly they're 10 to 20% more likely immediately. This, I'm like using the second or third best meat, and it's like, oh, you added 6%, and I'm like, what the heck? 6%?
Yeah, it's like 2 ways to get monsters, as far as I can tell. It's like there's the scouting method, and then there's the hey, they're going to get back up after you defeat them and join you method, which is where the meat comes into play more often than not.
Well, there's one thing I will say about the meat is that you cannot use the meat on a mini boss monster that's roaming. Like I tried to use that on the green dragon, the lumbering lizard, and the cyclopses, and it literally said, "Oh, sorry, you cannot use this item against these monsters." However, I managed to get a cyclops just from battling it over and over again to the point where it's like, okay, fine, I'm joining you.
Oh, okay. I was wondering how you got those because I beat my first cyclops in the main game, and I tried to scout it. It was like 0, 0, 0, 0. I was like, okay. right? And then I threw some meat at
Take
it.
a hint, Pendy.
And right, and then I tried to throw some meat at it, and then like you said, like the game doesn't even let you use meat to try and recruit it. So I'm like, can you even recruit these monsters? I'm glad to know that you can, but I guess it's really hard to do.
It just wouldn't let you in the demo entirely.
Well, no, I tried it in the main game, and it wouldn't let me use meat there either, which was weird.
Yeah, I mean, and capturing them in the demo. I mean, you
Oh,
can't
no.
capture it in the demo.
Oh no, I was just talking about using the meat. Like usually you can use the meat at least, and even in the main game you can't use the meat. But I'm glad that you can still in the main game at least get them, because I thought like, what's the point of this if you can't even recruit them? But that's good to know. Good.
Yeah.
As far as graphics and performance for the game goes, I don't know. I have old man memory, and I didn't think it was blowing me away so much in the demo. But playing the game now, I don't think it's much different. But it does look nice. It looks really crisp, and I think maybe I had to get out of that first area and just rocks and grass, and it's not blowing away. It's not pushing the Switch to its limits. My battery life on my Switch Lite has been quite good, so I know that wasn't the case with Builders 2. Builders 2 had that thing chugging. But it's fine. It's 3DS Plus. The monsters, I know when I look at Wing Slime, I like the way its wings move and the light shimmers off through its wings. There's some standout monsters in terms of what they've done with lighting and the sprite work with them. And performance, it lags a little bit when you're getting more monsters or you pop into an area.
I did have it crash on me once, but I had just walked into a new area, so it auto-saved, so I didn't lose any progress after it crashed. But yeah, when the demo came out, everybody was like, "Oh, it looks so ugly," and the whole time I was like, "It looks fine." But coming in, there's a lot of charm that came into the graphics. It's not meant to be some hyper realistic world, but I think they did a very good job of getting a style that works for the system.
Oh yeah, the style as far as the style goes is fantastic. What was the last Pokemon game that came out for the Switch?
Scarlet and Violet last year.
So would you say the graphics for Dragon Quest Monsters are better than that game? Because I heard a lot of complaints about that one.
I think I can speak upon that. Literally, I feel like the graphics are, even though it seems like a 3DS kind of graphic style, it, to me personally, I see it better as what Pokemon is currently giving out since the 3DS era, just because literally since I've been playing Pokemon since when the 3DS came out, and the Dragon Quest Joker was the last Joker 2 was the last one in the Western area, I literally saw it as okay, I'm gonna play Pokemon for the rest of the time until Dragon Quest comes out. So seeing the games progress and seeing how Pokemon Sword and Shield, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet have basically came out with a bunch of glitches, bunch of bugs, different sort of things when they first come out, I'm like, well, this sucks. But then even though they make patches and get it fixed, there's still it still seems like the Dark Prince is much better because it's only lag and the one crash issue that I see from most people.
Yeah, it's still a little laggy in certain spots, like the demo was, which I was hoping they were going to fix, but apparently not. But overall, not too bad. And sometimes if there's a lot of monsters on screen, you got the weather going on all at the same time, just like in the demo, it can stutter here and there, mostly from what I've seen. But other than that, performance has been okay, and graphics look great as far as I'm concerned. And I just love the style of all the different places and monsters and whatnot.
Pokemon's problem was they went with a full open world, and that made everything chug. That was one of the bigger problems with that. So yeah, I mean, you could fly up high, and literally, if you were up on the mountain, you could turn around and see almost the entire world map at once.
But wasn't Treasures kind of like that though?
Yeah, I mean, the Pokemon world was way bigger because it was that was it.
Gotcha.
There was that one world. But no, Treasures was like that too. I mean, those were they were continent size.
Yeah, and I don't remember any performance
small
issues from that game.
No, it was I think this one may perform a little worse, but I mean, even then, it's no big deal. Like you said, you got to have a certain number of monsters on the screen. If it's raining, whatever, it's not grinding to a halt. I don't have any little thing running here, but I mean, I would say it's going maybe from 30 to 20 or something like that kind of dip. You're not chugging along at single digit frames per second.
Yeah, 95% of the time, I don't even notice any issues.
Yep.
It's just every once in a while here and there, it's like, oh, a little bit of stutter.
Yeah, and something I've read on like Reddit or in the Discord is that if it's in dock mode, it has more chance of being a little bit more laggy. I have no reason why, but that's what people are saying.
Okay, yeah, I've only played it handheld so far. So.
Interesting.
Well, you think it'd be the opposite, but I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe it's because it's trying to map everything to a bigger screen in docked mode. I
have no clue, but that's what some people have said and what I have noticed. So,
well, I know that that's happened to other games. Like, was it in handheld? It's running natively at 720, and then when you dock it, it's I think doing 1080. So that could be, even though it's getting a little additional power, that's still a jump.
Trying to do more and maybe can't handle it or something like that. That makes sense.
Whatever it's asking to do is more than whatever the additional power is coming from. I've seen that on other games in the past too.
Gotcha. So as far as the music for the game is concerned, I think the music is great, though I'm biased. I mean, there's an emphasis on the old original Monster tracks that I recognize and a lot of tracks from Dragon Quest IV. And like I said, I got a bias for 4. It's my favorite soundtrack out of all the Dragon Quest games, and it's been wonderful. What does everyone else think about the music? What do you think, Blue?
Yeah, something pretty much the same sentiment. They did a very good job of, blending monsters and Dragon Quest IV together, and there's your soundtrack basically. And I definitely like that, they changed the normal battle theme to the Dragon Quest IV battle theme rather than the one in Dragon Quest Monsters that we're used to, but then you go into the arena and it's the same Dragon Quest Monsters battle theme that you all know and love.
And the boss music, yeah.
Yeah.
Or the finale, I guess. What about you, Platty, if you've listened to the music at all?
There's music? No, even I with my untrained ear can tell this Dragon Quest IV stuff. And yeah, I probably listened to an hour out of about the 6 or 7 I played. But just to get an idea, mainly for the voice actor and actress, how it is. And no, the soundtrack's fine. We're never gonna get a new Dragon Quest soundtrack, are we?
Never again.
Never again. They're just going to run it through AI filters and
exactly.
It'll be just different arrangements of the same stuff.
Basically, I feel like. However, I love the music. I feel like it's just the weather and the winter didn't get any music really for some areas. So it's like it kind of made it lackluster in a way. So I don't know. It's like I said, it's probably gonna be like a 7 out of 10 with the season. But I did love it, and I do love that some of the Dragon Quest Monsters music has made it into the game as well as the Dragon Quest 4. So yeah.
Oh, that's like one thing that I do have to disagree with is that I actually love how when you're having weather or you're getting into the winter season, how there is no music. I like that kind of ambiance of like just nothing. There's no music. It's just kind of spooky, especially in the winter season, and you're just kind of walking around. I know it's the opposite of what you like, but for me anyways, I just like having that little break from the music, and you go like, oh, it's wintertime. Oh, now there's no music. It's just kind of dead. And I thought that was kind of unique, and I thought that was fun. But that's just my opinion on it.
So moving on from the music, we have a Monsters game with voice acting now.
Yes.
So what is everyone's opinion of the voice acting? I actually thought it was really interesting because they usually use British voice acting. And for whatever reason, Toyland's voice sounds kind of distinctly American to me. Like it doesn't sound like at least he's not as British as everybody else. Because I actually looked him up because I thought I recognized his voice from somewhere, and no, this guy is like brand new. He doesn't have anything on IMDb or whatever. That could be completely wrong, and I just have absolutely no plane of reference for what is British and what is not British, but I thought it was interesting.
It's because he's the thief character, so let's give him an American accent. That's what it was.
Exactly. Oh, I was going to say that exact thing. Pendy jumped in and beat me to it. Of course, like those proper Brits, and then us freaking Americans, whatever. We just steal everything.
It was also funny because I was playing the game yesterday, and Toyland came up on the screen, and my brother just like in passing he was like, I feel like they added him in because like they were like, okay, this cast is fine, but you know what it needs? A twink. And I was just like, okay.
I don't know. I don't like his design at all. Like that hair is bizarre, and just like I obviously haven't seen much of him. He's only been around for the past 2 hours, and I'm like, we could have done without this guy.
I think
voice-wise, he didn't pop for me at all. So with the voice acting, I play it so much on mute. I'll turn it up for it. They're doing fine. It's okay. I think this is the point where I need to complain, though, that we should have had a voice actor for Zorro, and he should have been speaking. It's not like some of the other games where, like, you're making the choice. No, like, this is his story. We are playing an established character story. He should talk. He should have dialogue, and they should have had a voice actor for him.
But they do, because he gets to go, oh, ooh.
Yeah. Well, they should have had more than a grunter.
No, I'm fine with it, because that's what they've traditionally done for, like, the original Dragon Quest Monsters games, where they had the silent protagonist, even though it was like Terry or Kiefer or whoever. But so the way they play around with kind of Rose being the voice for everything, I like the way that they have done that. So I've enjoyed it so far.
I mean, that's why every game got its mascot going back to, Dragon Quest 8. You could see that Yangus was the one who spoke all the time for you. Dragon Quest 9, you got Stella.
Mm-hmm.
What the flap?
Yep. So they keep coming up with that just to add an extra character. I'm like, mainline game's great. You want to keep the silent protagonist, but like even Kobe Terra, whatever, like they're not anything really in the history of the game. But like, come on, give Zorro some lines. He spoke in Dragon Quest Heroes.
Oh yeah, but here he's just going to stare at you angrily, and that's all you're getting, Platty. I'm sorry.
Maybe he'll shake his head when you tell Rose repeatedly, "No, you can't come with me."
Oh, no. so many but thou must moments in this game, which is fun, because usually if you say the mean thing, the reactions are great. You get a nice little bonus to it, and then you say the yes finally, and then they'll say whatever we're gonna say originally. So
yeah.
Oh, but speaking of mascots, Drakely, who's your favorite?
I actually love Fizzy.
Yeah.
I actually feel like her voice actor was really good. However, I've only seen her voice actor like really come up in that first tutorial section, and that's about it. However, I'm gonna have to give Rose and Toylan a 75% okay, 25% hate, mainly because, and this is mostly towards Rose. Rose, when she's trying to like cry her heart out to you in the very beginning, like having you keep her on your team, it's more like a screech in my opinion, rather than like that like teary excitement. And I'm like, who did you again? And so I'm like shocked. So I don't like it, but the rest of her like voice acting, as well as Toylan, just because like he did okay, is probably like a 75%. I'm not going into the other characters that you end up meeting in the game, just because I don't want to spoil too much. But I would say that there is a knight that we've seen in the trailer that I actually enjoy listening to his dialogue as well.
Ooh, I think I know who you're talking about, and that'll be interesting.
Oh yeah, no, his voice was good. I will say that most of the side characters that you meet along the way have been good. Yeah. There's actually a whole village of people who talk with a lisp. But it's not a lisp as much as their tongue is sticking out of their mouth, and they're talking like their tongue is sticking out of their mouth, and it's funny and well done.
Nice. Yeah, I thought the screech that Rose had basically when she was overjoyed by joining you, I thought that was hilarious. And she even says at the end, is like, oh, I think I kind of overdid that a little bit. Sorry. But yeah, the voice acting has been great. I've loved what they've done with Toylan and Rose, that sneaky American apparently. But
I'm telling you, I guess I'm not crazy if you guys are also seeing it. So that's good to know. I always like knowing that I'm not crazy, super crazy at least.
Fizzy's voice actress has been great. Yeah, it's too bad that she's kind of not more in the game besides just kind of hanging out for the online stuff. But maybe this will come by later. Who knows? I haven't only 4 echelons into it, so we'll see.
One thing I'll also have to say that the arena master for the Molosseum is really, really good with their voice acting. Each time I go into the arena or the Molosseum, I'm like, I want more of that.
Yeah, I talked about that on the last podcast when we talked about the demo. Yeah, his is one of the best. I almost forgot about that. Yeah, his
shut kill.
Yeah, I love doing arena fights in the Nandiria just because you get him as the referee and you get to listen to all his puns in this voice that he has. It's great.
The other guy's fine, but he's
good
fine.
Too. Yeah,
he's no Dragon Quest 8 arena announcer, but no, he's fine. But you have all picked the better one. All right. Speaking of picking better things and trying to do better, what about the DLC? Was it $26 for everything? If you bought the Molehole, good old Trainer Joe, and I can't remember what the treasure chest is called, but it's a treasure chest, and you can open it every hour and get stuff for it. Treasure trunks. There we go. So yeah, I bought all 3. Like I said, I dropped like $90 that day to get everything pretty much, and the treasure trunks. Like I brought my my game to work today and like just had it right there. And in between every class, like once an hour, I just go walk over and take stuff because it's all pretty decent stuff. Like you get down to the bottom of that list and you're getting 3 super skill seeds. So there's 30 skill points that I can add anytime I need to. And you can get that if you're doing it every hour, you get it twice a day. I mean, I'm not.
Or you can hoard it for emergencies.
Oh, yeah. But the fact that it just keeps going, I was disappointed in the metal ticket because I'm coming from Terry's Wonderland. I'm like, metal ticket, I'm going somewhere to fight metal slimes. No, it just gave, 2,000 experience or something?
Oh, really?
Oh, yes.
Huh.
It just gives experience to a monster. Because I clicked on it, I saved the game, I turned off autosave. I'm like, here we go. We're going to go see how many we can kill. I'll use one of the bonus balls when I get there. And I clicked on it. It didn't take me anywhere. It just showed me my monsters. And I just kind of was hitting A. And my first guy, I think it was my drag racer, gained a level and was like, you've given drag racer 2,000 experience. I'm like, what? That's all that does?
That is kind of lame.
Yep. No, I was ready to go to Metal Land. And
Especially since you're paying for it.
yeah. Well, I mean, it's 1 out of 10 prizes that they got there.
So
It's enough to get
honestly-
somebody from level 1 to breeding stock. So
Yeah.
that's all you can really keep it around for. Like if you want to, I
It's
need
more
to
than
breed
that.
this real quick. Yeah.
So I did buy all the DLC, and honestly, I wasn't going to I was the least impressed by the treasure trunks because I mean, yeah, it's good items, but like also I'm a hoarder and I don't like to use them, so it's like $6 for stuff that I'm not going to use. But hold up.
No, I'm making myself use it.
But
I'm
hold
making
up,
myself.
hold up. There's a costume in it too.
Oh, they all have costumes. Yes.
Yep.
So I bought the $6 one because of the costume.
Is it? Do we need to take a quick break right here and mention while we're talking about this what costume we're all in? Because one, I think the Baker one looks absolutely stupid. Not touching that with a 10-foot pole. I've seen a lot of people with it. I'm like, no, that's not how the Lord of Naderia dresses
the master
oneself.
of monster kind.
No, you dress for the job you want, not for the schmuck you are. I've got the one that looks like Hendrick's dark armor on.
Oh,
that's a good one.
With the spiked armor. Yeah.
I've got the fancy winter coat that looks like the other Hendrick outfit. Where he's like the general's jackboots, I think, is one of the items for it.
No, that's a good choice too.
Yeah, see, I'm a cheapo and I haven't gotten any of the DLC for it whatsoever.
Yeah,
So I got nothing.
I was gonna say, you got to pay your tax bill.
Yeah.
I don't have any cost either, but if I did get the DLC, which I might, I'm probably gonna be wearing the chef's outfit.
Oh, I'm so sorry. So sorry.
So when I found out,
Should have
that there
waited
were
for my
costumes,
disparaging comments till the end of that.
when I found out that there were costumes, I thought one of the costumes was going to be his outfit from Dragon Quest IV because I thought that would be a nice nod. And when it wasn't,
okay.
I was like, I wonder if that's something you unlock by doing the story.
Oh, that would make sense. Like a post-game reward or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Or like when you become the master of monster kind, you get the outfit to go with it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Win it in the arena when you're the top dog or something. That'd be fun.
So with the other online functions, because I don't have the online program from Nintendo, I haven't been battling anybody, but I've been doing the online shop to see what's in there because that refreshes every day. And then there's the quickfire contest where you just get thrown into battle with like 30 random opponents and it's like boom, 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 boom. You win or
It's
lose.
over in like
win
a
or
minute.
lose.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did it like the first day, did not win anything.
Oh,
But
nope. Yeah.
zero
Same
wins,
Seriously.
30 losses. But you still got like 3 sirloin steaks from it or something like that?
Yeah, they'll give you something.
So today I battled again. I actually got 4 wins this time, big improvement. So I got a few more nicer items, so that was fun to see. So I guess and this is where I see where people have like all the boss monsters and things like that.
Yeah.
Like, holy
Day 1,
crap.
Saturday. Or I guess it was day 2 technically. Saturday, I clicked it for the first time and I'm like, oh, fuck these people. Already?
Well, I feel sorry for anyone who's into like online battling. If there's like ranked matches, I don't know how it works because I can tell from the quickfire because they show you who your opponents were. We're on the Japanese server, so we're competing with Japan.
Oh, yeah.
And you know how hardcore they are. So good luck to everyone who's competing out there because you are competing with the motherland and they are hardcore.
Let me tell you, thank you for all you hardcore players playing this game because I've been stuck in the level 200s, 300s in Terry's Wonderland Wi-Fi recently. And this is a 13-year-old game over there in Japan. Japan. But good old Slime Timer team, we improved. We were up in like the 50s in both ranks of online tournaments this week. I got myself a Darkonium slime, got myself a Super Rainbow Egg. I'm like, woohoo!
That's great. Another online option for this game that's been Japan only has been they've worked with Coke and with McDonald's to get specific monsters that are related to those products. So there's like
They have me. They have me.
They have Platty.
The 3 Splatties.
Yeah. So they've got with a Coke bottle, you can get basically a Coke King slime or whatever it's called. And then with McDonald's, I think it works that if you get McDonald's delivery, you get a code and you can do it up to 3 times. And there's 3 different McDonald's themes monsters. So there's like a burger slime and things like that. And people over here have been like, oh, I want to get those because they're not doing that in America or anywhere out west. Oh, I want to get these special monsters. And I saw one guy that went on to a Japanese auction site and he bought them. There's people in Japan that are getting the codes and then they're auctioning them. And one guy bought like the set for like $50, the equivalent of $50. It was like 7,000 yen. I was like, oh my God. So the Japanese people over there are making bank because they are getting these codes and then they're selling them. It's been interesting.
I don't know how any of the online stuff works, but I'm hoping they mentioned something about being able to recruit monsters off of your opponents. I'm hoping some nice soul sets up a team.
That's been a feature in other games. Yeah.
I'm hoping some nice soul sets up a team with the exclusive monsters so we're not locked out of it, and then I don't have to be sad that I can't actually catch them all like I have been with every other Dragon Quest Monsters game I played.
I want to say they mentioned that you could get monsters out of the quickfire contest at some point if you did well enough. So maybe that might be a way to do it, but I don't know for sure.
Yes, I've done online mode and I have done like the quickfire and I have not gotten any monster yet. So it may just be like a higher rank or a higher quickfire rank.
Well, Platty, you mentioned that in previous Monsters games, you can actually, if you battle people online, you can get monsters from them or something like that.
Yeah. So what you could do is if you battled somebody online, they would be saved to their team would be saved to your game. And you could then go in. It might have been like a Street Pass option, even though it wasn't Street Pass. But I think I talked about this the last episode when I was playing like Dragon Quest Monsters 2 or Joker 3 Professional. I can't remember what it was a couple summers ago. Like, I feel like every time I went online, there was the same guy with like a team of level 1 slimes, but it was berry slime and lemon slime and lime slime. It was like these slimes that were exclusive giveaways, and you could tell he'd made them all level 1. He'd like probably bred them and purposely cast them at level 1. It was an easy win online, and then he was saved on my cartridge, and I could go in and recruit the slimes. And I think every time I battled him, I could then go in and I don't think there was one chance. I think he was there until I recruited one, and then it like got deleted from my system. But like, yeah, I got some exclusive monsters just because 10 years after the fact, there was somebody just out there just leaving their system on and doing it and whatnot. So I wonder if there's something like that where at some point there are battles that you can then recruit off of. I'm not sure yet.
Fingers crossed.
Yep.
But I'm also scared. I'm allergic to online gaming, so.
Oh, me too. I get it in hives. That's what it says right there in the.
I know. I saw. Mine's more of an indigestion thing, but.
I would need to know that is a thing before I get going with it.
Yeah, and to go back to the DLC stuff, like if I didn't buy gifts for Christmas before any of the game comes out, I would have gotten the DLC to go with it. However, because I bought a Walmart game plus like the gifts, I'm like, well, now I have to wait for it. And out of the things I've seen online and out of the things I've seen on streams and all these different things, the mole seems like it's the best rewarding system because you can go back in, recapture monsters you synthesize, and then be able to fuse more of those monsters that are like higher level. And I think one thing I would say is that the hard part is you're only given like 5 or 6 per like floor, so you have to go back in each time to go like.
Yeah, so that's actually my complaint about the mole hole is that it's slow. You do get 10 per floor, but when there's 70 G rank
you said what
monsters,
there's 70 something.
Yeah, when there's 7, like the chances that what you're looking for show up are like it's really low. It sucks. So the amount of times that I've been going through the mole hole, just check, like I made a checklist on a spreadsheet to easier keep track of what I have, what I still need, and so I go through and it's like, okay, I need this guy, and I fight them all and I try to scout them and I usually usually miss all 3 of them or all however many of them, and it's like, whatever, okay, let's go to the next floor, and just kind of go through, and it will take me a whole day to replenish my monster stocks, which, like, it's convenient because it's all in one place, but there's no way to, like, cycle the spawns or anything. You go through a floor. Once you go to the next floor, like, you have to keep going and then leave, and then you can start at the beginning again. So, like, it's all in one place versus, you could wait for all the different seasons to go through and all the other areas to try to get monsters that way, and that also doesn't sound like a fun time. So maybe I'm doing this to myself, but I've just been like, Molehole, why are you so slow and unreliable?
Coming off of Terry's Wonderland, this is like almost the exact same system. They had that you open up at a certain point, and you can go down 30 floors and maybe see some S rank at the bottom. And then someone was telling me in Terry's Wonderland, once you've seen or caught 50 S or SS rank, suddenly you can have like another 10 floors. You can get down 40, and the last couple floors are all S and SS ranked. But it's the same randomness, and this is almost exactly from Terry's Wonderland the way this is done.
Okay. Yeah, but more importantly, Blue, what about the name change of a certain character?
You had to remind me.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so we talked before about a couple of monsters getting renamed, and I'm like kind of mostly okay with that because they're things that I'm pretty sure the only like localized name we've seen for them was intact. And it's like, okay, if the mobile game is not the canon official localized game, I can live with that. However, the thing about the Molehole DLC is that the person you talk to visit the Molehole is Donnie Mole.
No, you can't say.
Which is
not
just
the Don Mole.
It just doesn't make any sense because it's been Don Mole since Dragon Quest VIII.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's never been anything different, so I don't know why they changed it. And it's not like it's a recolor of him because, like, he definitely has the same Moonshadow harp that, it has always been there. And I don't know. I'm like, did they think Don Mole sounded like a mafia boss and that was, like, too risky for the rating? That's the only logical explanation I can think of, and even then it still makes my blood boil. Don Mole did not deserve this.
Yeah, and that's another issue I've been having with that. But honestly, I say that it's fine, at least in my opinion, because honestly, I don't mind going back for more monsters. Plus, about 30% or even 90%, depending on who you talk to about who's been going through all the floors. A lot of the monsters are large monsters. So.
Oh, really?
That is also true.
So you literally get a lot of large monsters that you've already synthesized as small monsters, and so you can make large monsters easier.
That's good.
So yeah, it's cool that you can get more large monsters. However, when you're trying to scout them and you're already struggling, when it's large, it just means you're going to have a harder time to scout it, which means, okay, I'm going to have to try to roll this monster again because it's probably not going to join me. And as someone who doesn't care about large monsters because I like my 4 slots, let me keep my 4 slots. I don't really want to mess with anything bigger. I like small monsters. So, like, if you're going for large monsters, it's a plus. However, I just think it's kind of annoying.
Yeah. The Monster Brawl DLC, though, it's more of a challenge than the main game. Like, I've seen people go in the very beginning thinking you'll be like the Don Mole or the main game, like, tiering system. No, like, literally, your monsters you're fighting against are, like, level 20, and
oh, yeah,
that's the lowest tier.
I don't know about that because I did do the slime workout. Like, at the very beginning of the game, I pulled out my onion slime that I brought over from the demo with just one skill. Same thing with my Drake slime and the Fright Bulb that I got, and I think it was a regular slime, and that was my team for the slime workout. And there was no chance I was going to be able to scout any of the monsters in there, but I beat the thing just fine.
Yeah,
and all the way up to the boss even.
Yeah, it's good.
Lucky you finding keys.
It's good.
Literally, Platty, if you walk around and go in every room, the key is floating around the monster's head. Like, you can see it on the on the
it
main
did
screen.
say that to me, and I swear I went up and down. I'd beat a monster. I'm like, do you have it? No, because I thought that's what it was going to do.
Did you go into all of the different rooms?
Are there 3 rooms or are there 2?
Depends, I think.
It depends,
it's probably
yeah.
randomly generated, but yeah, that's.
I
did it once. I will definitely do that more. I paid $10 $50 for it, damn it. I'm gonna do it for it.
I'm wearing the costume from that set, so like it's getting its money worth.
Yeah, I just
Nice.
see it more challenging in my opinion, just because of how the reactions were. And then honestly, I don't know if the treasure trunks refreshes
They
every
do.
day. Oh, they do?
Well, so they don't refresh every day. You can open a chest once an hour, and when you go through the list, you start back at the top of the list again.
Oh, okay. So that makes it more interesting than I thought. Because when I originally was gonna go through that in my review of the game, it just seemed like from other people's perspectives, it wasn't that like recommended from like what the other content for the DLC gave. Like,
Well, isn't that
literally
the?
put it at
It's the
45.
cheaper one.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say that's the by far the cheapest of the three, I believe. So that would make sense.
Yeah.
Get what you pay for, kind of deal. And it's
Yeah.
just a nice little item, as Platty said before, which is I'm sure.
Oh yeah, and you know what?
Good.
I've made a point of using those items. I'm like, I spent the money, and you know what? Like almost every day, I can get everything on this list again. So why should I not be using my 3 bonus balls and getting 1.5 times experience for 30 battles in a row? And if you get down to the bottom, you get a super bonus ball. Where bottom, I think you get like
your Florida
20
accent.
Yep.
Sorry.
I think you get like 20 battles or 30 battles at double experience. So if I know I'm going to be wandering around, might as well just use that because I paid for it. I'm going to get it again. It's on that list.
A few items in costume, not too bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, and with the online stuff, I've only tried the online shop for like their basic items, but I've heard it could be expanded. And then
Yeah, because she tells you like, hey, I'm gonna look and see what's new today, so that they can add as many things as they want in the future. So it'll be interesting to see what they add as we go along in the game.
And not only that, but like I'm not sure if it also compares to the ranking in PvP or if it's based on seasons. So I honestly don't know how the shop expansion would work out. But I did try the online battles with someone, not the tournament, but just normal battles. And let's just say I beat them and they were like, "Oh, you have more higher spells and skill sets than I do. Let me go and basically get a Dracularge at the end of the day."
Nice. Did you see like, are there like ranked battles, or is it just fighting other people?
So this was a friend battle that I did.
Right.
And with a friend battle, you can basically battle anyone on your friends list on your Switch.
Oh, okay.
The rank battles basically puts you in like a waiting pool with whoever else waiting, and then whoever else waiting and they match up, then you just fight whoever's online. And then I think
you get
there's
points
a
for
tournament
winning,
mode.
and you could rank up there.
Yeah, and with the tournament mode, I think there is a way to do like a friend tournament, and then there's a ranked tournament.
Gotcha.
So there's different things you can do.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see if like for the ranked battles and tournaments, like I wonder if there's any kind of prize that you can get if you rank so high among everybody that's playing it around the world, like you would in previous games.
I think they've given monsters for that in previous entries, which is another reason why so many of them are locked out of actually completing the off-brand Pokédex.
It's the DQ Dex.
Yeah.
Sure, yes.
I would have called it the Monsterpedia, but that's just me.
It wasn't called the Monsterpedia before, which is why I hesitated. It's usually the Big Book of Beasts in the mainline games, but even then, it hasn't been called that in a while.
So before we move on, we have a special guest, kind of, sort of. We have Jay, who has joined us before, and this time he sent us his writing of how he felt about the game so far. So he writes, after finally having a good amount of time to play, I feel I can record some thoughts for you. I'm about halfway through the 4th world now, and things are trucking along smoothly. I even got my first C rank, Shadow Slime. I've noticed monsters come in a much wider range of sizes, and it seems easier to get 2-slot monsters than in the demo. On that topic, I was disappointed with how monsters were transferred in. You and me both. I knew they'd be reset, but only having one skill set, which massively reduces how many skill points they get, really hurts their usability and kind of defeats the point. That said, I'm having a blast playing around with everything, and even the story is top-notch so far, which Monsters games usually struggle with.
Well, much like you going out there and getting Jay's thought, I started something on the Dragon's Den a couple days ago, and I called it Props and Drops. Basically, plus and minuses. What do you enjoy about the game? And I got 2 different people that have commented a few times, so I'll read theirs. I'll summarize it. I was telling the way I set it up on the Den for was like, okay, you can't post twice in a row. Someone posts a prop and drop, you can post another one, go back and forth like a little old forum game. I posted a few times. And all this is all the stuff I've mentioned so far already. Like, I have loved the graphics, have enjoyed the DLC so far. I love that reverse synthesis instead of just, clicking on one monster and being like, oh, well, can I match him up with anybody else? No, you just go to reverse synthesis and
you can even specify one parent. So like,
yes, you can.
When I've gone through, when I go through and do my, big batch synthesis, I usually specify each of my main team members first. It's like, okay, what can I make? And so, Platty, you're my healer. And at the beginning of today, you were a dark slime, and then you turned into a Flightgeist, and then now you're a Dracuma, which is C rank. So you've been climbing.
I'm climbing the ladder.
Everybody else is still D rank, but I've also got the little prawn thing that Trainer Joe is. Jay is a dragon.
Used to be called a Yabby, wasn't it?
No, it's not a Yabby. It looks like a Yabby, but it's not a Yabby.
Okay, it doesn't have claws, does it?
It does not have claws. It has boxing gloves. Jay is my breather, and he used to be a dragon, but there wasn't a good dragon to synthesize him into right now, so now he's a dragon slime. And Yangus is a wild slime, and Berurian is my shrimp guy. And I was doing a boss fight, and I actually did die to this boss fight, but my brother was like, "Your team looks pretty adorable for going up against these big bads."
Usually that's the way it goes in these games.
Little dudes.
Start getting higher ranks. Yep. The negatives I put so far, I mentioned this, silent protagonist. The font size is killing me. I'll be honest, the font size in this game is absolutely fucking ridiculous. I play so many indie games, and we cover so much on RP Gamer, and I know RPG Fan goes on and on about this too when they review games. There are so many indie games that allow font size changes. So many indie games that have color blindness modes to affect the reds and greens and stuff. So many indie games with pronouns and whatever, but it's just all accessibility functions. And for that, Square Enix is like, fuck you, we're going to give you like 3-point font. Playing in handheld is rough. It is just so small. And I've taken some screen captures where it's the whole screen and then the words are like 2 millimeters tall in the center. It's like, seriously, you have room. And if you look at any of the dialogue boxes, they never go past halfway in a dialogue box. So a dialogue box is half empty space always. I'm like, ugh. And it's for someone who usually plays in bed at night, after the kids are asleep or whatever, it's rough. And yeah, those 30 battle things, I thought, oh, this will be fun. And, one day, and it's all just, you're fighting S and X rank monsters. And also my last little complaint, all the different monster sizes, I'm already over that. I am stuck with 2 party members now that are ridiculously small. They're like smaller than a normal slime. I've got the Cauldron Dragon, like pumping out the most damage that my team can do. And it's hard to see the details of him. It's about as small as it could probably freaking get on the screen. I'm like, ugh. I'm already missing, like, this is a dedicated 1 slot. This is a dedicated 2 slot. This is a dedicated 3 slot. And they're all going to be the same size. But nope. I've got she slimes that are like 5 times as big as my little Cauldron Dragon. And it just makes me think this is so weird.
I think the little itty bitty monsters are adorable, but I'm not really here for it as a mechanic or anything. Yeah. Just going through the whole, you walk up and it's like, oh, it's a little teeny tiny jargon. And then you stomp on him and he doesn't want to join your team and it's sad, but
like, dude, I'm way more powerful than you. You should be with me because you're a runt. You're gonna die repeatedly.
Oh, what's the big old monster in the candy area? It's the Dragon Quest X type monster with a little cage woman.
The Iron Maiden.
Iron Maiden.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's Dragon Quest 11.
I mean 11. I meant to say 11.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
But she is huge. Oh my god. It's like walking in there.
Towers like she's a mountain.
Yeah. And I accidentally ran into her because it's hard to get around her because I was trying to do a shortcut. And wow, she like killed me in one shot. And I'm like, okay.
I don't doubt it.
I'm not going to see you for a while. But it's been, it's the different sizes have been interesting. Yeah.
All right. So there's a new denizen we've got on the Dragon's Den forums called Breeby, B-R-I-E, Breeby. I think this person is from France, they mentioned. They're loving the small little details that breathe life in the monsters. They like that the odd cob spews out corn niblets when he gets hit in battle. Gets whacked and little pieces of corn go flying off. I don't know if it's the story decision that Blue was talking about, but there was a story decision that they really, really, really liked. Even though they admitted like, it probably wouldn't have let me do the other one anyway.
I was like, did I pick wrong? Was I supposed to do the other thing? Because I was like, they say like several things at once, and I'm like, okay, I agree, I don't agree, so I'm saying no, and then I'm like, was that right? I don't know.
Some things they didn't like. They thought Dragon Quest Monsters 2 did little individual stories better. They specifically called out the ice world with the rival kingdoms that you go back and forth. They thought that was a lot cooler than, all these. I mean, I've only really done 2 so far, where it's just like, oh, my little person's missing. Can you save him? Cool, go beat the boss. Oh, my little person's trapped. Can you go save him? Okay, go beat the boss. But I'm fine with that level. They were hoping for a little bit more, and they were very upset that bosses can go frenzy on them and just like beat the shit out of them at some points. Hendrik of Heliodor also wrote in and loving the new monsters, specifically calls out the Crocabugle Dew as one of the funny ones, and the fact that they're like, oh, Treasures didn't really have anybody new except for the Draglings, and they mentioned many new monsters in recent Dragon Quest games. Well, we haven't got many new games. We got 11. 10 never came here. If you're not playing the mobile games, you haven't seen a lot of new monsters in a long time other than 11. And Hendrik does not like the monster AI, and this is what Blue, you were saying earlier, that Hatchet Man all the time.
I actually have not had, that was actually why I brought it up, but I actually haven't had terrible results with Hatchet Man. I turned it off at one point, but then I synthed my guy, and all of the things reset, and so he started using it again. And it's not like Hatchet Man in the main games where it's like crit or nothing.
Yeah.
It's like...
It lowers their defense, doesn't it?
No, that's Helm Splitter.
Oh, it's Helm Splitter.
So
yeah.
it's like there's a decent amount of chance that it just does like a regular attack's worth of damage. Mm-hmm. And then there's an increased crit chance, and then there is a small chance that they miss as well. So it's not like the worst thing in the world. So far, I've been seeing better AI than in Joker 3. So
I haven't had really a problem with it either. I do know that they really do tend to use moves a lot. And one thing that they mentioned is, that monster's at low HP, but instead of attacking, they'll just use a low MP move on it. Like, oh well, it's all right. In Terry's Wonderland, I had no problems for about 60 hours, and then I made myself an Iron Scorpion 2-slot monster to go along with my Hornbeat. Those two just together have gotten me in the top 50 of the Wi-Fi rankings. And every now and then, and it's not every day, I don't know what the heck it is with that thing, it just decides to use Kamikaze against a team of 4 SS ranked monsters. It just tries Kamikaze. That shit ain't working. And now I'm down to half a team. I'm like, really? And I know with the online, every day that you go in to do the online on that version, you have to turn off those moves individually. So some days I remember to, some days I don't. Some days it doesn't cast it. Some days it does it every fucking battle. So but I was completely out of the blue. So I wonder if there's
the most damage. So I'm going to use it.
So I wonder if it's just, maybe Hendrix just had bad luck, my one specific monster in one specific type of game thing. So I don't know. I've not noticed really anything bad. I have noticed them bop monsters when they're close to death instead of blasting them with Inferno again or something. So I haven't had a problem with the AI, and I've turned off things that I don't want to use.
Platty, like I said, you're my healer, and it's really funny when I do the next turn and you're also really fast, so you'll just go up and you'll bop him for 8 damage because you have no attack.
Yeah.
But he dies because you knew.
I know. I've been keeping track. Making little tallies over there. All right, he's up to 80 damage, somewhere between 80 and 90 hit points.
Yeah, one of my favorite things about the AI is that when one of your monsters will stun or sleep someone, most of the time it seems like the team will recognize that and they'll go after someone who's not stunned or slept. And I appreciate that. That's something I like to see with the AI. We got that guy's out of commission. Let's go after the other people. So that's something.
And I've really noticed simpler. One of them cast Oomph and everybody attacked him.
Oh,
I was like, nice. Yes, that's who you should be attacking.
Awesome. Yeah. See, I've liked the AI so far. It's been. I mean, I haven't used the AI in a long time in the Dragon Quest game, but from what I've seen so far, it's been nice.
Drakely, you commented too on the what I put in the Discord. You want to give your little up and down there?
I talked about how I love the synthesis and the effort values of it, because literally when you're synthesized after an area, you kind of match up with where you're at. Plus, I wish the DLC was more so part of the game, because it's basically basically an extreme quality of life improvement to what you could improve upon in the game. My downside to it is the fact that the game's story monsters are even weaker than synthesis monsters once you start synthesizing 2 to 3 times per area, and you just end up like having like a maxed out monster at a low stage.
All right. Well, now that we've seen what Jay and everyone on the that commented on the Den or Discord thinks of the game, what are our final thoughts? What do we think about the Dark Prince so far? What's funny is Pendy wrote in here, this is where we talk about how it's reviewed so far. Apparently there is, you would have. Yeah, they didn't give out review codes until the day of the morning of release. But if you go on like Metacritic, there is is that a Spanglish? Is that a Spanish language one?
It might be. Nintendoros.
Yeah, Nintendoros does sound, or maybe French actually. Analysis, I'm looking at that. It's already auto translate, or no, is it written in English? Or is Google just translating this for me? I don't know. But
that's
they gave it
Spanish, it looks like. Yeah.
Okay. So
no excepto, cookies, oficinos.
Go right down there and see that Carlos, the editor-in-chief, did this. So yeah, it gave it an 8.5, but what cracks me up is Metacritic here, there's 52 user reviews and it's up to a 9.3, and I know exactly how this came about. It was a spin-off of some people that were on the Z6N4's Dragon Quest Monsters translation Discord, started their own Discord just for this game, and I know, oh man, I meant to give him a shout out during the episode. So Woodus has a guy, I think his name's Metal Kid. He's got an entire website dedicated to this already, to synthesizing. He's trying to get an entire encyclopedia done. You can put in your team or whatever monsters you want to synthesize, and just like the reverse synthesis option, you can just sit online and be like, oh, I know I've got this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, add them all in, and down below he's got the complete synthesis tree for what you could do with all of them. And he's been pulling in all the stats. I saw through him that there's English translated stuff for the McDonald's monsters already. So he had found a bunch of that stuff, and I know he's completely sharing his database with Woodus. Woodus even mentioned that today. But they put a call out, I think Saturday morning. It was like, hey, we've got like 300 members here. Even if like a 10th of us could just go on Metacritic right now and review the game, that'd be helpful. And it went from nothing to like 40 reviews within 2 hours. So almost all these reviews are from that Discord. I'm sure there's a few others, but I mean, you can go on some pretty well-known games and there's not 52 user reviews of a game on Metacritic. But
Monster fans unite.
Yes, Monster fans did unite. Somebody on, I think it was yesterday on Reddit, posted like, hey man, are there any reviews of this game? I haven't found anything. I was like, wow, why don't you check Metacritic? There's quite a bit there. He's like, wow, that's really reviewing quite well. I think he missed the fact that it was all user reviews, not the critic reviews. But
most
it's all right.
users think like other users rather than like critics. So
I was like, dude, you're already on the Dragon Quest Reddit. You know, what are you waiting for? Just buy the game. So that's humorous. I will not be adding my review. It was funny, as I said Friday, that the editor, once he got back to me and he was home and he's like, oh crap. He goes, I can't believe that you bought it that early and sorry about that, whatever. And I was like, oh, just give it to somebody else to review. And like a couple hours later, I'm sitting at a wedding, and it was maybe 10 minutes before the wedding actually started, and I felt my phone vibrate, and I looked down, and the only Discord channel that I really have set to give me notifications popping out at me is the review channel on my RP Gamer back channel, because if there's game codes available, I'm like, oh, I want to look. Oh, you know, I want to see it, because usually they'll post something and in a day or two somebody will be like, oh, I'll review that. Sure, send it my way. No, man, the games I jump on, like Octopath Traveler 2 or whatever, it's like within 30 seconds of them saying they have a review code, I'm like, I'll take it. So I did see that he posted, and it was I think the way he worded it is like, oh, Matt already bought the game and is going to write the review. If anybody wants this review code, it's for free. Just take it and have fun with it. And I immediately responded to it. My wife's like, what are you doing? Because I'm like typing furiously the 5 minutes before the wedding. I was like, Matt is not going to review this game. I'm going away on vacation. I just want to take my time with it. I don't want to like try to pump out a 1,500 word essay before I hop on a cruise boat in a week and a half and speed through this. I think we're all taking our time with this. We're not at the level 100 rank S monsters yet. But
No.
somebody jumped on it right away. Or actually, I should say within an hour, someone's like, oh, I'll take it. I'll write the review. That's fine, Matt. You don't have to. I was like, yes, that's perfectly great. And if you mess up the review, I can always just write a second opinion later. It's all right.
And I remember
actually-
you were frustrated with having to do that with treasures. I remember in the past where you had to go through it so quickly. To
Yeah, and see, I think I gave Treasures a 3.5. It wasn't horrible, and at the end of the day, like I was the lowest one on Metacritic for quite a while, and I think if you go on Treasures right now and look, I think it's trending right around 71. So right where I rated it. As the more reviews came in, it kind of went there. Yeah, Dragon Quest VII is a 72. So for quite a while, I was the Debbie Downer of that one. But I think a lot of that was the fact that I rushed and beat that game in 8 days. Just I was going fast. I didn't have time to just enjoy and do all the different stuff. So maybe I've learned my lesson. That's what I should not do with Dragon Quest games.
Yeah, imagine having to do that with 12 in the future.
Oh, yeah. I actually went to lunch
4 days.
yesterday with the guy who did the Dragon Quest 11 one for the first time. And I had just joined the staff when Dragon Quest 11 came out. And I remember I was proofreading his thing and adding a couple things in there because he had never really played a Dragon Quest game before. So imagine that. Like he had never played a Dragon Quest game before and then jumped on a Dragon Quest 11 review. And I think he at least had 3 weeks, but like, you know, he was trying to get the whole post game done too. He was trying to do 80, 90 stuff in 3 weeks.
Jeez.
And he's a school teacher like me. And yeah, I don't know how he ever did that. He must have gone home and played 4 or 5 hours a night. You know, I'm looking at some Treasures video right now. Treasures graphics are way better than now. This might be PC.
Oh yeah, because it's on Steam now, so it might be Steam footage.
I was gonna say this might be Steam footage. I'm looking at it.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? It is because it says now available on PC.
Yep.
That I was like, wow, I don't remember it looking that good. Damn, I should go back and bump up my graphics thing for that.
It'll be interesting to see if they do the same thing with Monsters, to see if their exclusivity
Monsters has
rights
never left a Nintendo handheld. So,
but we didn't think it was going to happen with Treasures either. But then, like 6 months later or something like that, they're like, "Hey, by the way, it's on Steam now." It was just like
Also, by
the
the
shadow
way, there's
drop.
a demo.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But yeah,
All
they
right,
do
so
that.
I'll shut up. You guys can give your final impressions and everything too.
Yeah, before we move on to that, I was going to say if they do that with Monsters too and put it on Steam, that'd be great, especially the Steam Deck, so it'd still be portable.
Yep.
But yeah, Blue, what's your final thoughts on the game?
I've honestly been having a lot of fun just going back and forth between doing the story and exploring all the new areas, and then also going and, digging really deep into collecting all the monsters. And even, with the story, just before recording this, I ran into that big story twist where I'm like, did I just screw everything up? Was that supposed to happen? I said no. But it's gonna be interesting to see how everything plays out as I continue, because even so far there are nods to bosses that you fight late in the game in Dragon Quest IV, and so being able to talk to those enemies, they might not be enemies, but they might be. It's gonna be a fun time. But I'm also kind of glad that I have the opportunity to take my time with it, do things kind of slow, take the time, don't burn yourself out on Monsters by playing 2 Monsters games before the release of Dragon Quest Monsters.
Who would do something stupid like that?
Both of you.
As you're finishing talking and I'm loading up Terry's to do my get my free mini medals for the day, and
I honestly thought the game is solid. I'm not gonna say was because I'm still working on it, but as a title that's not well sold or known outside of Japan, I feel like we need to have a better outlook on this game, just because it's not one of those well-used and well-known titles compared to Pokemon. This is a little hint to those listening that if you want this to be well-known and well-used as a game title in the future, even more often produced, to show our support with the deluxe pack or the DLC will definitely both benefit us having the games out in the West or European servers compared to just only in Japan, like the Joker 3 in the professional versions that we never got. So definitely show your support.
Game good, buy more game, spend money, Dragon Quest, more Dragon Quest.
Exactly.
So as far as what I think, I've never really been into the traditional Monsters games, but it's been decades since I fell off after completing the first one. I went in with an open mind, and I've loved how they've treated the Pizarro-Rose relationship so far. That's been a lot of fun for me. The locations I've seen so far are really fun to explore, and I like that it's not just randomly generated dungeons with the occasional tournament. It's got some story to it, and it's been really fun. So I've had a really good time with the game.
All right. Does anybody else have any final thoughts?
One thing
Final
forever.
thoughts.
Hold my peace.
One thing I will say is that the Sorrow Rose relationship, just for you, Pendy, will get a little bit more dicey in the future.
Good. I'll look forward to it.
Drama.
Yes. Give me all the drama.
All right. Well, that's all for this episode of Slime Time. Thank you all for coming here to talk about Dragon Quest Monsters: The Dark Prince. And a special thanks to our special guest, Drakely.
Never a bad time for monster wrangling. However, can this dragon be unchained from Penny's yard post yet?
We're a non-profit podcast.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah. We won't wrangle your hard-earned gold when we can offer you quality content for free. But if you do have some extra gold that's looking to join the Dragon's Den herd and you would like to donate anything to a website that's been supporting Dragon Quest fans for over 25 gosh darn years, mosey on over to the Dragon's Den by clicking the link in the show notes. There are several rootin' ways to support the Den, including the affiliate links that don't cost you anything extra when making other Dragon Quest purchases. Yeehaw!
I was going to go with the joke that there's not enough alcohol to wipe that from my memory, but there's probably not enough throat lozengers for Pendy to get his voice back to normal after that. We'll go with that joke. Speaking of things that we do have, though, we have a Slime Time t-shirt that sometimes when Pendy and I meet up, one of us wear, and sometimes the other one doesn't. It was designed... Now, Bluestar and I wore our t-shirts together. We were in sync that day.
I also brought my t-shirt when I met with Pendy. I didn't wear it because it's a little small, but I brought it and I held it in the picture.
Before we go on,
yeah.
I know this is totally unrelated, but because it was talked about in the Lost Monsters podcast, I had to we have to give everybody an update on the stickers, the hidden stickers.
I found the last sticker that Platty left in my house.
Yay! The sticker saga is over.
Yes.
Until the next time.
Yes. My wife's talking about driving around this summer, and I'm like, nah, I think we're good. We're already taking a weekend drive to Arkansas and back to see the eclipse. I think we can avoid North Michigan and Montana this summer. Just take it easy, but we might be heading up elsewhere in the summer of 25.
But Platty, you can also see the eclipse from Ohio. Why would you not come to Ohio?
Let's see. Arkansas is the closest one. Ohio's the farthest away one, and Platty's going on a cruise and already taken 5 days off of work coming up in a couple weeks, so I don't have another 5 days to drive to Ohio and back. Arkansas it is. I think we'll be on a road down in Little Rock. But that all brings us back to our t-shirt again, and resident artist Dwayne, he's our artist in residence here at Slime Time. We've got the link for the shirt the graphics and the shirt that he designed in our show notes.
And as part of the Slime Time Extended Universe, or STU, you can direct comments or questions for the podcast on Twitter and Instagram at DQ Slime Time. You
can also join in tons of Dragon Quest discussions at the Dragon's Den forums. We've had a lot of posts. Woodus has said just in the past couple days we've had 10 times the traffic. He was showing a little bar graph behind the scenes earlier today, it's way up. And just earlier today somebody posted on the Den looking for Discords, and I looked at his tag city and messaged him. He's less than an hour from me. I'm like, wow, look at that. But yep, we've got the Dragon's Den Discord. There's also the Dragon Questers and Dragon Quest Tact Global Facebook groups.
Please like, subscribe, and write a review for the podcast. Get all your friends and just pump that user score up for us. Is that how podcasts work?
I think so. Affect the algorithm. That's it.
We need another Metacritic mob.
Yes.
Just for our podcast. Dragon Quest Slime Time, sliming off.
This is Gertrude for Slime Time, reminding you all that you must complete your adventure.